Owing the IRS can feel overwhelming, but the good news is there are clear steps to take to resolve your back taxes and avoid even bigger problems. In this video, I'll show you exactly what to do if you owe back taxes to the IRS so you can minimize penalties, avoid collections, and regain financial control. I've spent over 12 years as a tax attorney helping people resolve back taxes, sometimes saving them hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm Brad Paladini, a tax attorney at Paladini Law. Our firm helps individuals and small business owners resolve tax problems so they don't lose everything. No matter how much you owe, these steps can help. The first step you need to take if you owe back taxes, it is get clarity on exactly where you are with the IRS. Guessing won't cut it. There are two ways to get this information. The first is to use the IRS's website. You can create an online account and access your account transcripts. You are looking to confirm that there are no missing tax returns, and you also want to know exactly how much in tax, penalties, and interest you owe. If you have trouble accessing the online account, you can call the IRS to get this information. Be warned, if you do call the IRS, they're going to ask for a lot more information and try to get you to set up a payment plan right there on the spot, which you might not be ready to do. Step number 2, you need to file any delinquent tax returns that are overdue. We have another video explaining how many years you need to go back, but if you are missing tax returns, you are unable to resolve your tax debt. It's simply a requirement for a payment plan, for an offering compromise, for any sort of settlement. The IRS requires that all missing and delinquent returns are filed. Step number 3, before you contact the IRS, it's critical to know what you can realistically afford to pay. You need to prepare a budget to determine what you can afford monthly. The IRS is going to request financial information for certain types of payment plans, depending on how much you owe and how much you think you can pay per month. So having a clear picture of your finances is essential. You're going to want to gather your pay stubs, expense reports, recent bank statements, and you're also going to download the IRS form 433F. You're going to want to complete that form because if you call the IRS to set up some sort of agreement with them, they're going to require that information. Now, there are a lot of other forms that may need to be completed as well, but typically if you're going for a payment plan, a 433F is going to be required. Next, you need to stop the bleeding. If you owe back taxes for previous years, the IRS is more than willing to help you resolve it. Whether it be a payment plan or a settlement, there are multiple options for dealing with the past due debt. But the IRS wants to see that you are not going to owe again in the future. If you're an employee of a company and you're getting a pay stub, you're going to want to amend to your W-4, so basically just complete a new one, to make sure additional taxes are being taken out so you don't owe again when you file in the future. If you're self-employed, things are a little bit more difficult, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're making estimated tax payments so when you go to file your tax return, you're not going to have another big tax bill. No matter how you end up resolving the IRS debt, whether it be the payment plan or the settlement, the IRS will terminate that agreement if you accrue more debt going forward. So you really need to get on top of it, stop the bleeding, and make sure that in future years, you're not going to continually owe. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for resolving your tax debt. The best method for you is really going to depend on the particulars of your situation. If maybe you don't owe a tremendous amount of money, you could negotiate a short-term payment plan, which essentially would give you 6 months to pay the debt in full. If that's the case, you don't even need to provide any financial information. Now, keep in mind that if you reach this agreement with the IRS, it does not stop the accrual of penalties and interest. So during that 6-month period, the balance will continue to grow. If you owe too much or simply can't afford it, there are other options available. Most of our clients are not hiring us with the intention of paying the debt with within 6 months, although sometimes they are. The next potential option is an installment agreement, where you set up a payment plan for manageable monthly payments. There are different types of installment agreements, and the type that is right for you will depend on how much you owe to the IRS, and it will depend on your ability to repay the debt. If the tax debt is just too overwhelming and there's no possibility of you repaying it in monthly payments, you could try an offer in compromise, where you settle your debt for less, but you have to qualify. And basically, in order to qualify, you have to prove to the IRS that there's no ability to repay this debt before the statute of limitations expires. You could also try to go on currently non-collectible status. Let's say you have a high-paying job and you're recently laid off, and you expect to have another high-paying job in 6 to 9 months, but currently you don't have any ability to pay. You could pause collections and essentially get on a payment plan for $0 per month. Now, every couple of years, they're going to renew the currently non-collectible status, see if you are now employed, if you can afford to pay more. But currently non-collectible can be a really useful solution for some taxpayers. Again, like all the other solutions that we really talked about, interest and penalties are going to continue while you're on currently non-collectible status. Last but certainly not least, you really need to make sure that you are compliant moving forward. Like I said before, the IRS is more than willing to work with you to resolve your past due tax debt, but they don't want to see you owing year after year in the future. So make sure that you file all future tax returns on time and you pay the current taxes to avoid compounding the problem. Here's a mistake that can make your IRS situation worse: ignoring the problem. People often come to us months or years after they should have. They have ignored the IRS notices, and when you do that, the IRS will escalate your case to the point where they are filing liens against you, they are taking all of the money from your bank account, or they are garnishing your wages. Sometimes all three. Always respond promptly to IRS notices, even if you can't pay right away. You need to be proactive and not wait for the IRS to start enforcing collections before you try and resolve the problem. If this video is helping you feel more confident about resolving back taxes, please hit that like button so more people can find this information. And if you owe back taxes and need professional help navigating your options, click the link below to book a free consultation. My team and I will guide you through the process step by step.